Guys, what's going on? A Button Games here, back on Diablo 3, and first and foremost, I would like to apologize for the delay in videos coming up. I've been pretty sick. I had like a bad throat thing going on kind of for the last like week or so. I'm still a bit stuffy, so I apologize if that comes across in the audio portion of the video. And let's see, we could maybe do like a Greater Rift, I guess. I don't really want to have to pay attention, so we'll do like an easy one maybe. Like, I don't know, 43. I don't know, just so I don't have to pay attention. Because basically what I kind of want to talk to you guys about today is a little bit what we talked about last week about the updates that the game is doing, and if it's detrimental or not to the game, and kind of how they're handling equipment, and how would you guys like to see it, and how I personally think it should be. So, basically what I'm getting at is, you know, when they increase or they update their game at all, they add new sets. Not new sets, they update the existing sets. We all know that. So they change the effects to make them a little bit stronger, to make so they can handle the higher torments. Now, the only problem that I have with that is, as far as I know, now I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, the old sets that were in the game are no longer in the game. So if they increase the set damage, the next time that that set drops for you, it's going to have that increased effect. Now, obviously, if you have the old set equipped, then you could still have all the old sets and stuff. I don't know why I do that. But basically what I'm trying to get at is that good for the game? Or do we want to see, like, more tiers where, like, you know, actually playing in the different torment levels can have an impact on not only the level of the equipment that drops, like the rarity of the equipment that drops and how frequently, but also maybe, like, the tiers of the armor, right? So maybe they could adopt something similar, not exactly, but similar to, like, you know, what a typical MMORPG does, or like what World of Warcraft does, because it's a Blizzard game. I guess we might as well compare apples to apples here. You know how they have like different tiers for armor. You know, they have tier 10, tier 9, you know, they're up to tier 500 now at this point. But you know what I mean. And basically what I'm saying is, like, why get rid of the old set effects instead of just making it so, okay, if you play in between Torment, whatever, you know, 1 and 4, then you can get anything from tier 1 to 4, right? Not necessarily each torment has its own tier, but you could get drops between those tiers, between, say, you know, an arbitrary range, you know, 1 to 4, 1 to 3, something like that. And basically what that is those set items will have slightly, you know, the reduced effects that they used to have on, you know, but back when, you know, the max torment was, what was it, Torment 5, Torment 7, things like that. So, you know, maybe what they can do is they can reintroduce that gear that made it so you could run Torment 7 easily, but make it so you could only get that gear if you're in, you know, Torment 5 through 7, things like that. That way you're actually building a character, because, you know, I know what they're doing. They're trying to cut out the middleman here, and because people don't have a lot of time to play, yada yada yada, we talked about that before. But what they're essentially doing is, it's like, why should I come on and grind for the next, you know, updated piece of gear that they made when I'm already wearing that same piece of gear, if in a few weeks when they release another update, they're just going to re-update the sets anyways, I'm meant to get it again. Whereas, you know, someone who's brand new to the game, as soon as they join, you know, their first set drop that they get, it's going to have the highest it's going to have the highest effect on it. So, you know, I think that's within reason. I'm not sure if that's how it works outside of Torment, but I know, like, Torment 1 through Torment, whatever the fuck, the max is 12, if you get a set item to drop, it's going to have the same effect on it regardless of what Torment you're in. And I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that, simply because, like I said, it's like, you know, some brand new player could come in, and if he gets all the sets to drop in a week, he now has the sets at the highest ability, regardless, and he didn't have to go through all the procedural upgrades that, you know, everyone else did. So I would kind of like to see them somehow build more of a tiered system in with not just the sets. How about with everything? You know what I mean? Like, think about when you're playing the game normally, when you're leveling up to max level, you're constantly getting similar stuff, but you're getting better versions of the same stuff, and that's kind of what allows you to progress more. It's not like, you know, when you get a legendary drop in your campaign at level 10, it has the exact same effects on it as the legendary that you get at level 60, because that'd be ridiculous, right? But that's essentially what we're doing here with the torments, is you know, as soon as you get to torment level, it doesn't matter what torment you're playing in, the drops are going to give you the same stuff. You know, you're going to have increased drops in higher torments, things like that. There might be some special things that you can only get in some of the higher torments, but for the most part, the thing that everyone needs, the things that everyone wants, like the sets and stuff like that, if you get that in Torment 3 or Torment 12, chances are it's going to have the same effect on it. Now, you know, you might not get the ancient versions in the lower ones. They might be a little rare, but believe you me, I've gotten plenty of ancients to drop, so I know that can happen. So again, you know, think about how the game builds itself up throughout the course of the campaign versus, you know, then what happens when you reach the end game. When you reach the end game, there is no procedural upgrading that takes place for the most part. I mean, you know, when you first get your first character to max level, it's going to take you a little bit to build up your legendary inventory and repertoire and stuff like that. But, you know, for the most part, you come in, you do a few riffs, you do a few greater riffs. The bosses almost always drop legendaries. Those legendaries can have varying effects on them. And that's what I like. That's what I would like to see on set items. I would like to see maybe a variable put in place on set items, like they have on the legendary items. That way you could try to roll for better legendary items. You know, it gives the Enchantress more of a use, but it also gives the idea of farming them more of a use. Because once I have, you know, an ancient version of my set item, I have no reason to even bother looking at the next ones that drop, because there's no variability in the effects that the item itself has. Now, the stats, there's effects, or varying effects, but there's no variability in the actual effects that the items give you. I would like to see that personally, and I would like to see maybe that set up in a way that, you know, it can only reach a certain maximum effect in certain torments. That way, you know, people are kind of building a little bit more slowly. I think it's going to be better for, like, the longevity of the game, as well as, like, for the people who are making a character, you know what I mean? Because I don't like the idea that I just got to get the item, you know, sort of once. I get that, like, there are other desirable stats and stuff on the gear, but I mean, let's all be realistic here. When you get into the higher torments, the dexterity and intelligence and stuff that comes in the gear is really, really minimalistic in terms of how it actually impacts your DPS late game. It's all about the actual effects on the items. So I would like to see them do something to make more of an incentive to, you know, keep trying to get the gear that you have, keep trying to get new gear, keep trying to experiment, things like that. I think that's what it all comes down to. You know, I know what you guys are thinking, like, how could they do that with effects when there's multiple different pieces of gear? You know, you would have to have the same effect across all the gear? Would they have to have varying effects across all the gear? I don't necessarily think that I have to have varying effects across all the gear. I think they could do a thing where they average the effect maybe across all 5 pieces or 2 pieces, whatever the hell the set you're working on. So take the Marauder set on the Demon Hunter, for example. Each Sentry they have down gives, what, 800% damage now instead of 500. I wish that could vary between, you know, 200% and 800%. And then based on the 5 pieces that you have on, it's the average of those. So the only way that you're getting the maximum set effect is if you have the maximum roll for all the pieces. Now, that being said, that sounds like a pain in the ass, and like, oh god, who could ever do that? You're right, who could ever do that? But if all of your pieces are like between, you know, 700 and 800, the average is going to work out in a way such that it's not going to make that huge of a difference overall. But it is going to make a huge difference if you have a bunch of pieces that are only 200% versus, you know, all 500 to 800% pieces. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at here is I wish that they would just add a little bit more variability into their set items into this game, similar to what they have with the legendary items. Now, obviously, they would have to do it a little differently because, you know, all the sets combined together. So, like I said, these shoulders might have the effect where, you know, instantly dealing 300 seconds worth of remaining damage. Maybe that's at 120 on this piece, and 160 on this piece, and 300 on another piece. And then basically it averages all of those out when you put them all on to what it is. So, you know, in that case, sometimes if you don't have the full set, if you have 4 pieces and you need 5, so you're only getting that 3 set bonus, it might be more beneficial to only have 3 pieces of gear equipped if the average of those 3 pieces work out to be significantly more than the average of the 4 pieces, and you're not even getting an extra benefit of having all 4 on. So that kind of opens up the door to more possibilities for builds and a little bit more uniqueness to kind of go along with it. So that's kind of what I wanted to get across in this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Leave your comments down below. Leave your suggestions down below. I'm going to try to get some more videos coming out, but I'm really far behind in videos because I was sick and stuff like that. So I do apologize again, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!